Hi everyone, this is Paul with PG Audio Works, and I'm hyped to share with you my 100 BITWIG Curves pack. I've been loving the curves in the segments, and I love how they bring life to every sound. And so I've got this project here that's kind of an example of all, well, not all, but many of the different ways that you can make use of the BITWIG curves. And so kind of in the style like maybe cybercrime, cinematic music. Here you go. Cool. So let's go through the track a little bit. Let's start down kind of in the stuff that's not using the curves. We just got a boom and a downer here and another boom here. Sounds like this. Then a downer. You know, nothing too special there. The transitions also do not feature any curves. You know, so those are just the sound effects and the transitions. Let's take a look at the percussion, the low percussion. The low percussion is just like some epic big drum percussion sounds. These sounds also do not use any of the curves, but they do add a lot to the track. So let's just hear those real quick. You want to make something sound cybercrimey, technological, just add the bit 8. Adds a little bit of that technical grit. Love it. Okay, so now we're getting into the stuff that's using the curves. Let's check out this hi-hat loop. I've got a project-wide modulator over here that's going to grab all of the curves and pull all of them down. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this down now so that all you're hearing is the clean, dry sample without any curve input. Let's hear what it sounds like. Sounds like a perfectly nice hi-hat, but then when we add this back in, all of a sudden it's got a little bit more life. It's doing a little bit more. I'm gonna unmute the other track so you can kind of hear where that rhythm is, how that rhythm is contributing. I've found myself using convolution a lot with these curves because convolution just adds so much personality to a sound, and I've been finding myself using convolution a lot. So the curve is hitting the mix over here and also the brightness. All right, let's move on to this loop from Omnisphere. There's a few things going on this one. Let's turn off the curves and listen to what it sounds like without. So just adding life and personality to the sound again. This curve is hitting the clock. This curve is moving the filter and kind of like an auto gain purpose here, and also the input of the distortion. So again, just immediately adding all that personality to the sound. All right, let's close out the percussion. Let's look at the bass. The bass is a grid patch that's using an instrument that I'm kind of prototyping to be a regular part of my workflow that will probably be out for you to use sometime in the future once I'm done prototyping it. Okay, let's listen to what this bass sounds like without any curves. I mean, that is a world of difference. That is just so different and so much more impactful once you add all the curves in. So let's kind of take a look at what's being targeted. So first, this segment is targeting just the amplify, which is over here. So this is kind of like causing kind of like a duet between sound A and sound B, which is this bite oscillator here. And so by having the segments from here modulating the amplify here, as this one gets louder, this one is softer, and the other way around. Creates a really nice relationship between the sounds. Let's hear what that sounds like. See what's happening? Okay, what else is moving around here? We've got 4 curves going on down here. All of the curves that you're seeing, by the way, except for like a regular ADSR, those are all, you can find all of those in the 100 BITWIG curves. That's available for you to grab in the description below this video. All right, so let's see what this is hitting. By the way, BITWIG is so well organized, and so if you're ever wondering what are my segments doing, what are my curves doing, what am I modulating, you can always click on whatever it is that's doing modulation, and you can see what's happening over on this side. So over here, we're modulating the cutoff and the brightness of this filter. This one is not being used. This one is targeting the heat, as well as the sustain on this envelope, and the pulse width of the A oscillator in sound B. Take a look at that. So this one's just adding some rhythm and movement to the oscillator and the pulse width here. And then this one is kind of just jittering really, really fast on the pulse width and the pulse width in both of these and the sustain here. Listen to how much personality is added when you take this curve away and bring it back. You know, the core sound is there, it doesn't go away, but man, just the impact and the personality just disappears once you take that away. So I'm really excited about this bass sound. I'm really liking how it sounds. Okay, let's close up the bass. When I was thinking about the Curves pack, I really was thinking about this instrument by Spitfire Audio that I enjoy a lot. It is called Cinematic Pads. Cinematic Pads has these 3 mixer knobs, sliders over here, that are 3 different mixes that contribute to the sound of the pad. I really enjoy using this instrument and I especially enjoy modulating these mic positions. Listen to what these pads sound like without any movement. That is boring. But listen to what happens when I start bringing the curves in. I mean, it's just instantly a different world. Instantly a different world. Let me take a second to talk about the different curves that are inside of the pack. Let me just open up a curve. So all of my curves are labeled the same way, CV, and then a number to make it nice and easy for you. There are a few different ways that I've labeled these curves so they're easy to get around and make use of. Some of them are called post-transient. These are the ones that are my favorite. If you take a look at these, you'll see all of these kind of activate in some way after the transient. And so what they do is they bring life to the body of the sound. And then we've got some generic, generic groove is what it says there. There we go. Some generic grooves. And what these mean is these are all designed to bring a rhythmic pattern to the music that you've made. And so by using these, a static sound like a pad suddenly comes to life. And so I've got a generic groove here, and I've got a post-transient here. And then we've got the busy ones, and the busy ones are, then we've got the wild ones. The wild ones are just meant to be kind of crazy and very busy. These are really nice to put on something and have it, moving free and at high speeds, even at audio rate. It's really enjoyable. They can bring very subtle or very crazy variation to a sound. So I'm really digging being able to use these in my music and have them all kind of organized so it's easy for me to grab what I'm looking for. Check out this pad sound one more time. Yeah, I love it. This is just a regular segment. I think it's almost the default preset with a little attack added. So don't worry about that one. You can get that one for free. All right, check this out. This one is another one that I'm excited about. This is an old preset that some of you probably have from me if you're watching this video. And check out what I did with Buzzer with these amazing curves. I'm just loving it. Okay, so check this out. This is kind of like the core of the track too. Listen to it without the curves and with. It's a perfectly decent sound, but it's really boring. The sound becomes its own groove, all on its own. That's what's so exciting about these curves, is the curves, when you modulate 2 or 3 things at a time with 1 or 2 different curves, can take a sound from being fine and normal to having all of this personality. Check that out. Can even take it even further. Another thing that I like about the BITWIG curve system is the ability to change the rate that they're happening at. These LFOs are so well designed. So this one's going slow. It's 4 bars at a time before you make it through a cycle of the curve, whereas this one's going fast. And so you really don't get the exact same thing out of this line of music, this track, for 4 whole bars. that just adds so much personality and excitement to a track immediately. Loving that. Cool. Okay, and then last but not least, let's close up the ARPs and the pulses. And then last but not least is a very, very simple polygrid crap patch. And it's got a little bit of subtle movement going on in here. Let's check this one out without and with. So again, just adding some subtle movement that brings a simple sound to life. This is moving the cutoff at a rate of 8 bars. Let me zoom in nice and close so you can see what this is doing. At a rate of 8 bars, this is moving the cutoff of this filter right here. Let's take a watch so you can see what's happening. So kind of like what I was saying earlier, when you bring a few of these curves in, modulate a few different things at very different speeds, some things moving at audio rate, some things moving at a quarter note or a half note speed, some things moving at 1 bar, 4 bars, even 8 bars, all of a sudden you're bringing so much life and energy. Okay, I did something interesting on here. This is modulating the cutoff of the filter up here. This one is moving at 4 bars, and you can look at the pattern, you can see it's very sharp. It's very aggressive. But I'm actually not using it that way. If you take a look over here at the smoothing, I've got 1.38 seconds of smoothing going on. So it actually makes the signal coming out of here much less jagged. It's one of the ways I enjoy using this. Oh, I forgot to mention one of my favorite things. You hear the stereo width on this sound? It's coming from the phase offset here, watch. Ah, that's so cool. I love that. And so on all of your curve options, on your segments, your curves, and all the other curve modules in the grid and in BITWIG, you can take the input of the, you can do this with the LFOs too as well, excuse me. You can take these inputs and you can offset the phase, which will create stereo effects. So I love it, man. I love all the things that these curves can do. All right, check out the whole piece again. I'm gonna play it from the beginning and again without any curves, and then when we get to the second half, I'm gonna hit those curves in. I love it. I love it. Man, with the BITWIG curves, you can take a fairly generic sounding track and just with a little bit of modulation in a few different ways in a few different places, you can bring a track to life in some really cool ways. 100 BITWIG curves are available in my store. This is the very first product that I've released. So I'd be so honored if you went, checked it out, went ahead and grabbed it. And I think you'll enjoy it. I think it'll make a big difference in your music. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you've got any questions or comments for me, go ahead and leave a comment at the bottom, and I will do what I can to be helpful to you. All right, bye y'all. Blessings.